Good morning, everybody, or good evening, or good night. Appreciate everyone joining today. We're going to kick off another series of basically doing a live demo of one of our products here at PSPDFKit. My name is Richard. I'm part of the sales team. A little bit about myself. I've been with PSPDFKit for close to 9 years. Been heavily involved in kind of the sales motion here and kind of helping with the product along. So excited to show you some functionality today and some things. In the background, I've got a few resources. We've got Guillermo, who's one of our engineers from our web team. He's going to be there to help answer questions in the chat, as well as provide resources. At the end of this, we will definitely send over contact information, things like that. So you have a chance to connect with us afterwards. So we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. So I will get my screen up. So wonderful. Okay, so a little bit about PSPDFKit before we dive in too much on some of the stuff. So PSPDFKit's been around for a little over 10 years. We started in a smaller space, primarily helping developers with iOS applications. So basically the ability to render and manipulate PDFs in iOS applications when kind of the app craze was there. That quickly evolved with a customer base that was requesting more and more functionality across different operating systems, such as Android, web applications, server-side processing and things like that. So you can see that, we've partnered with a lot of cool use cases across the industry that some might be familiar, Autodesk, heavily in the construction and engineering space, DocuSign, with e-signature and e-security, Dropbox cloud storage and things like that. So yeah, today want to take everybody a little bit around the product and the product offering. As you can see with our drop down on products, we do a lot of things like I was referencing: web, mobile, server. One thing we've definitely seen in the past, 4 or 5 years, is the adoption of web applications really increasing. Browser technology is becoming more robust. You can do more things client side. Operating systems are becoming more powerful. So, the ability to do stuff with a web app is becoming more and more prominent. Not to mention, you can run a web app or a web browser on almost any device today. I mean, my refrigerator has a web browser. My TV has a web browser. So building web apps seems to be something that predominantly a lot of our customers are starting with, rather than going to mobile first. But it varies by use case. So, in terms of PSPDFKit, we do a lot of different things. So I'm pulling up basically our different products here on the left-hand side under the PSPDFKit umbrella. PSPDFKit has other lines of businesses, but we're going to focus on PSPDFKit today. So as I was talking, we have, our web integrations to provide, rendering, manipulation of web apps. We have, different stuff for mobiles, iOS, Android, Windows apps. If you want to have a native viewing experience and manipulation there, one thing that PSPDFKit really prides itself on is like the attention to detail, especially when it comes to UI, UX, things like that. So, you're going to see a difference between our iOS SDK versus our web SDK versus our Android SDK. Kind of going on with some of our core values of continuous improvement. We have solutions for like Flutter, React Native, Electron, technologies that we see emerging in the industry and being adopted widely. So you can take our technology and fit it to kind of your tech stack as well. And then kind of to round out everything, tools that a lot of companies rely on, such as Salesforce, SharePoint, Teams. A lot of these solutions don't have native PDF rendering or browsing. So, we've provided integration so that if you want to bring some of those workflows in-house, so you can see that there. And then lastly, some of our server-side technologies like GD Picture, Java processor. These are kind of bulk processes such as, applying watermarks, redaction, converting documents, if you've got high volume or an automated process that you'd like to fit us into. So wonderful. So the product I'm going to be demoing mostly today is called a product called PSPDFKit for Web Standalone. So why is it called Web Standalone? So Web Standalone essentially is a client-side JavaScript PDF SDK. It works entirely inside the browser. There's no server-side component that comes with it. Everything runs and happens in the browser as a WebAssembly web worker. Why do we use WebAssembly? Because it helps us do things faster and optimizes performance. So WebAssembly is a great asset to our SDK to allow us to be, rendering pages faster, doing heavy processes such as conversion in the browser, so you don't have to spin up a server-side component. So Web Standalone is probably one of our most popular products, just because I think you can get it up and running in little to no time, which we can kind of talk about that later. So when you're looking through these components and features, one of the cool things about the way we license our framework is that these are all flags. So when you come to us as a sales team and you go, I've got a use case, we spend a lot of time trying to figure out which one of these components are going to be, fit to your use case. And so pricing has a little bit of weight on that as well. So, the goal today is to go through each one of these components a little bit, touch on them, answer questions if people have them in the chat, and then kind of move from there. So that'll give you a better idea of what you can do with each of these components. So yeah, let's dive in. So the first one is our viewer. So to use our SDK, in your web application, here's a quick view of kind of the standard UI and UX, switching between night mode and dark mode. So what you get when you license our framework is essentially this box here. This sidebar here is a custom implementation we just kind of did in order to allow you to kind of switch through different examples. But this is the UI. So the first step of getting PSPDFKit for Web Standalone up and running in your web application is you allow us to render the document. Once we're able to render the document, you can build on top of that. So, one of the things I hope you notice is how quickly we're able to render documents in the browser. We spend a lot of time improving this by, milliseconds by milliseconds by milliseconds each quarter, which allows us essentially to steadily improve the rendering performance over time to be really competitive. So cool. Some things that come with our viewer, we have a lot of people that are downloading PDFs locally to the browser and opening them in a web view. So what this would allow you to do is you never leave your application, you never leave Salesforce, you never leave SharePoint. You're rendering that document inside of your application. So some of the things you would be able to do while rendering that document is, you could look at thumbnails and navigate through that. If the PDF has an outline, you could see that. We spend a lot of time doing QA with some of the more popular tools, like end user tools like Adobe DC and things like that. So, why do PDFs exist? There's a certain level of reliability and security. So there's specifications about what is a PDF, what constitutes a PDF, and there's certain properties of it. A lot of the stuff we do is we try to follow that specification close enough that, if you take our solution or our documents and put them in another renderer, that a lot of things are going to stay consistent. We do some proprietary stuff, but mostly we're trying to follow the spec. So, outlines is something that maybe you created a document in another viewer, you pull it into ours, we can pull that outline as well. Bookmarks are another thing that the viewer is you can create a custom bookmark so you can navigate maybe longer PDFs and things like that. So we can do that, and I can say bookmarks and then navigate it. So if I go up and then click, I'm back there, which is great. Other things that you'll see is, the ability to navigate through pages, zoom in, zoom out. We have a lot of clients who work in the construction and engineering drawing. So being able to zoom in at a very high level and then keeping that fidelity and the accuracy of the rendering is really helpful to make sure it doesn't get pixelated. So we want to be able to zoom to a very, very high degree and allow that document to still retain its quality. So I'm going to pop out and fit the page. Okay. A couple other minuscule things about the viewer, search engine, if you've got a document that has been OCR'd or the text is selectable, we can search the text on it for almost any Latin-based language, and then you can download and print the document as well. So, that's kind of the standard quick view at the viewer and what comes with it. It's good to note that along with PDFs, we do have other document types that we can work with as well, including Office files. We can support images as well. So we're able to do a lot with different document types. So you're ingesting maybe an image, an Office file, something like that. We convert it to a PDF, and then you're able to render that. Cool. Looks like we've got some questions coming in for Guillermo, which is great. A big thing, and I think one of the reasons, like if you ever go to SourceForge or D2 and kind of take a look at why people go with PSPDFKit, the customization pops up quite a bit. So when we say customization, we mean like, changing the toolbar. This is a quick example of like you can change the icons, you can remove icons. Maybe you're building like a DRM or you're in the publishing industry and you need to keep certain things unable to download or export. So we have abilities to like maybe remove export, remove printing. Maybe I don't want people signing this. So you have the ability to kind of customize the toolbar as you want. And then you can take it to a next stage of like, all right, well, I love your colors, but I want my stuff to be purple, so I can customize the theme in that. So there's a lot that we're working on in the background as well to kind of continue to iterate on this customization, so you can make this look more and more and feel more and more like your application opposed to PSPDFKit's viewer. So, and then the last thing I'd probably wrap up for the viewer is we have the ability to customize a sidebar. So if you wanted to use this sidebar like we do over here with something else, you could use it here. So I can, in this example, we turned it into a bit more of a, we turned it into more of a robust search engine results so that you can see where it comes in and I can navigate it to as well. So there's ways to do that. Yeah, so that's the viewer. Don't see any more questions about the viewer, so that's good. There were a few other things that usually pop up that'll jump around. So like, when you look at our viewer, we talked a little bit at the beginning of why are web apps becoming so popular. It's all because you can run them on any kind of device. So you can see where we have customized the UI to adapt to different devices. So here's what the UI would look like if you're running an iPad Pro. Here's what it would look like if you're running on a Pixel. Here's another one of a regular iPad. So, we want you to be able to use our SDK across as many devices as possible and have more of a custom workflow for those users. So good. Cool. Excuse me. So that was viewer. I'm going to skip down here to annotations. Annotations is probably one of the leading factors of why people come to PSPDFKit and want to use PSPDFKit. There's a lot of decent open source viewers on the market where you can, spin up a quick viewer, but you really start to run into limitations when you start wanting to manipulate the document, whether it's from the UI, you have to build up the UI, or you have to add the functionality on top of open source. And so there's not a lot of solutions in the market right now in terms of like giving you a robust annotation tool. So a lot of people start looking at the commercial route when you go to annotation. So when you look at our annotations module, there's a lot there to unpack. We could probably spend an hour itself on just talking about annotations and things like that. Funny enough, someone asked about what PSPDFKit is built off of. So we're built off PDFium, which is Google's rendering engine that they open sourced several years ago after they purchased it. And so we've got the advantage of having our fork off of PDFium being backed by Google as well. So great. So annotation wise, Some of the stuff that you would expect, being able to do ink annotations, being able to do free-form highlights of text, being able to highlight specific text, things like that. And then, if you want to get rid of it, you can erase it. With almost any annotation that we do, we give you an annotation inspector, which essentially allows you to, customize the color, the backfill, don't love that, the opacity of the annotation, the thickness of the line. And so giving you some customization so that you can actually, make the annotations you need them in for your use case. You can also preset annotations so that when you click on the annotation, maybe it's a certain color or things like that. Obviously, we do PSPDFKit blue because, well, that's us. So, being able to do that is really helpful and gives you a lot of flexibility on how to, mirror certain things like that. So that's one of the core annotation types, but there's a lot more. Going back to whether if the PDF has been OCR'd, you can select text. And when you select text, you can see that you're able to do certain things such as highlight, strike through, underline, things like that. You're able to interact with the text a little bit more delicately in terms of like putting certain text on things. And then we expose a ton of APIs that you can even extract what you're highlighting as well. So even when you're working through everything, you're getting this annotation list that's tracking everything that's been done, when it's been done. And so that information is all exposed to you as well to do with what you want. A few more things that you can do with annotations. We've got stamps. Our stamp template follows the same one that Adobe uses. So you're able to basically, again, have that cross-platform support. You do have the ability to, within our UI, even do a custom stamp that you can change the color, the time, and stuff like that. You can even import your own stamp template. So we have a customer that works in the insurance industry, and so they use our custom stamps to recreate car accidents. So, they have a car stamp and a cone stamp and things like that. So pretty neat to see how this has been adapted to different people's different things. So we'll prove PDF. Okay. Can we select there PDF and add image? Cool. And then additionally, you can add an image annotation. So if I uploaded this image of our component list, I can pull that and add an image to the PDF itself. So I'm able to do an image annotation. And then if I needed to even annotate on top of it, there's my image annotation that I can do there. I can also create link annotations if I need to. So let's say I like this link here. I want to make sure that if someone clicks here, it's actually going to go to page 15. I'll create that link annotation. And then when I click there, it pushes me to page 15, which is quite nice. So, when it comes to link annotations, I think if there's one existing on the PDF, we follow it, but we can also do a lot of go-to actions there with link annotations as well. So if you're jumping from another document, different pages, things like that. Additionally, we have stuff for text annotations to type with the inspector as well as call out annotations if you need to, highlight certain parts of the PDF. Wonderful. And then, undo, redo of some things on the PDF if you need to, quick actions there. And then the last one will be shape annotations there. So a lot there to work with in terms of manipulating the document and being able to mark it up. Again, I think we welcome, feedback. If there's stuff that you're working on that you don't see, maybe it's hidden or, it's something we can expose, but we're always looking for more functionality. So an example would that be, this is considered a cloud annotation. It's very popular in the construction and engineering industry. So this was a custom annotation type that we, cool. And so this is a custom annotation type that we built specifically for a customer that was asking for it. So wonderful. See the questions starting to come in. I think Guillermo will keep up. I can answer that. PSPDFKit does support OCR. And you can extract text and images from PDFs. So yeah, that is something you can do with PSPDFKit. Cool, wonderful. All right, so that's just viewing and annotation. So we've spent almost 15 minutes just going off of 2 components. So a lot here to unpack. The probably next step that we'll probably want to go into is kind of understanding like PDF acroform support, so form support, form creation, and signatures. It's a big use case. You know, a lot of people are relying on tools like DocuSign, SignEasy, you know, HelloSign, a lot of these companies that give you an end user tool or an API access to go sign things. But one of the cool things about PSPDFKit is like you can actually build that or support that in-house yourself. So, you know, looking at this, we'll start from general forms. So this is a PDF acroform. So what an acroform basically is, it's bounding an annotation to a certain part in a PDF so that you can then extract or put in certain information. So in here we have checkboxes I can work with. I've got radio buttons I can work with. I can fill out certain names. So I'm Richard. Yep. So there, do RM for my initials, and then we can work through here. So we're able to work with a lot of different stuff here in terms of the form fields, date of birth. So what's cool about this form is that we have programmatically filled this out. So one of the things we push with forms is that if you have existing information like first name, last name, you're able to programmatically fill that information out prior to that. And then when you export the document, you can do that as well. So very cool thing to do with forms. It's a big use case for us, just being able to render or view forms. Additionally, you can see other different types of forms. But one thing that we've really stepped into is the ability to create forms. So, you know, ability to come in and create a form with a UI workflow, and then, you know, change maybe the properties of it, but I can even change form field. I can delete this one, and then I can come in and maybe put, I want this first name to be a drop down instead. Last name, I'm going to delete this one. Maybe I want it to be more of a text field, so you're going to type in it. So the ability to create forms on the fly is something we see a lot thing. But, you know, maybe it's something as simple as, you know, I just need to drop initial boxes in the bottom left corner of the document so people can do that. So, you know, forms has been something that we've put a lot of work in terms of our form support, from viewing and filling, but also creation as well. Yeah, so. Cool. Looks like Guillermo's staying busy, which is great. So that's forms. As you see, there's like a signature box here on the PDF. So, you know, something that you'll see is like, you know, if there's a signature box on the PDF, we'll recognize it. If you click on it, it pulls up our signature UI where, you know, you can go ahead and fill stuff out. You can, you know, do an ink signature. You can upload a signature itself, or you can type one. You can store these signatures so that you can use them at future dates. You can also do it manually by doing it up here, and then you could resize it and drop it. So, you know, maybe I'll move this one, and then I'll move this, and then the form field just recognizes that it's been filled. So that's pretty handy there. So that's an electronic signature. So it is essentially an ink annotation. You can still use it for signature processes, because if you look from our annotation list, you can pull the date and timestamps out of that as well. I think what we have seen growingly is the need for what we call a digital signature. So to explain the difference between ink signature and a digital signature, ink signature is basically ink annotation put on a PDF that is constituted as a signature. Okay, what digital signatures then provide on top of that is the application of a digital certificate. So PSPDFKit itself is not a certificate authority. But we provide the APIs and the abilities that, you know, after you sign and whatever your workflow, maybe it's simple as this, we allow you to publish and apply that certificate to the document. Once that certificate has validated that I'm who I am, I've signed the document, it hasn't been manipulated, we can then basically render the digital signature, put a banner on top of the document, said, hey, all these signatures are valid, document's good. And then on the inverse of that, we can also invalidate the digital signature if the document's been changed since. So a little bit of added security. E-signature laws continue to kind of evolve in certain areas of the world. So we're definitely seeing more and more customers, tend to go the digital signature route. And so with PSPDFKit, we're there to kind of help you apply that signature, validate it, apply that certificate, validate it, and then make sure that if it has been invalidated, we're able to show you in our viewer that it's no longer pertinent. So some stuff there. Okay. If there's no questions about signatures, we've basically pushed through this top half of components, which is great. And we can start getting into some niche stuff. So yeah, what you just saw is really some of the core offerings that PSPDFKit does in terms of the front end SDKs. So, we can see some of the niche things that we kind of see that have come in over the years that people have asked for certain things. So, excuse me. So document editor. So, a lot of the things you've seen today are individual manipulations of PDFs. Document editor kind of takes a step back and looks at the document as a whole. So I'm sure everyone's been in an instance where you're working on a PDF and you need to add a page, move a page. And so what do you typically do? You download it, you go somewhere else, maybe you upload it into a third-party tool, and then you have to bring everything back. And within that trail, you've left the document, the pages, and a bunch of different folders. With PSPDFKit, I can quickly open my document editor mode. I can start rearranging pages. I can rotate them if they've got the wrong orientation. I can delete them. And then I can also come in here and I can import documents. So if I've got something I need to import, I'll put it there. I'll put it at the back of it, and then I have an option to save this as the overarching document in order to create a new copy. So I'll save it. So I can come to the bottom and I can show you that I've added this. So Mahimbi is another LOB within our portfolio. We basically provide a PDF editor for SharePoint. So if you're in SharePoint, you're able to view and do a lot of the stuff we've shown, but in SharePoint. So here's a little one-pager about that. So all the things you can do while you're working in SharePoint. So, and then alternatively, if I wanted to come in here and say, no, too much, let's get rid of it, I can do that real quickly, save, and then I've got the new PDF all ready to go. So that's document editor, really helpful. And then a couple hidden tools that you'll see is being able to crop a document. Maybe you're uploading images and then converting them to a PDF, and then you can crop the page and only keep certain parts of it as well. So yeah, wonderful. So next one would be comments and replies. Kind of what it sounds like. So essentially you would be able to make inline comments on the PDF. So this is more of a collaborative workflow. So if you wanted to have a threaded conversation about a certain point on the PDF, comments and replies is a great thing. It comes as anonymous. Basically, you can input an API that asks for an author name. So it would come in and be like, Richard made this comment there. And then you'd be able to track the comments and everything on the PDF. And then if you export this to other solutions, it'll continue to be, it'll be there as well. Question easy to find would be the same. Okay, thank you, Guillermo, for helping with the digital signature question. So comments and replies, pretty straightforward. Going back to also what we were talking about in terms of something that a lot of people have to always leave their application to use a different tool. Content editing is one of those things for sure. So content editing is, when you look at a lot of things we've shown in the first half hour of this, we're adding another layer to the PDF. We're annotating, we're adding new content to the PDF. And so at that point, you can flatten that into the PDF, you can burn that into the PDF, you can keep that layer editable, you can do a lot of things as an additional layer to the PDF. So we're looking at a PDF here. So an annotation here would be me adding a layer to it. So I could download that. I can open it up in PDF Fume or Chrome, and that's there. But if I open it back up in my editor, I still have the ability to edit this, okay? Because it's an additional layer. our content editor allows you to essentially edit the existing text on the PDF. So let's say you worked on a presentation all night and then you convert it to a PDF in the morning, and you go in and you go to, and you're like, you've got a date wrong, or you've got a spelling error. Most often not, you have to go back to that source document, change the information, and then you have to like create the PDF again. With content editor, you're able to do a lot of things. So you're able to open things up, and then I can move the text if it's the wrong thing, but I can also just edit the text itself. So maybe I forgot to put a title here. So, we're going to go, webinar 10/19/2023. So I'm able to change the text. I can move it. I can resize it. I can change the font, and then I can save and close. And I've done that there. Similar here. I can go back into content editor mode. I can look here. Maybe I just want to get rid of this altogether. So we can move there. Maybe I want to move the context. So I'm able to do a lot of content in terms of being able to edit the actual PDF opposed to like having to change the source document. Can we edit text from OCR? Absolutely. So if you used a document, you ran it through an OCR process, then you'd be able to use content editor to change the text as well. So if you have a scanned PDF, you run an OCR, you can run our OCR, would prefer if you do. And then you could run the content editor, and what it would do is allow you to edit the text there as well. So cool. Yeah. But yeah, let's see if I've got something. Yeah. So here's like OCR. We'll jump around a little bit in terms of like OCR in the document. So here I just OCR'd this document. It's an invoice. We can also like OCR a contract real quick. I'm doing this client side right now, or I'm using GD Picture right now to do this. And so as it OCRs, I'll close out this. Then I can enable like content editing and things like that to be able to do that. So switched over, running the process. So I just OCR'd this. Okay, so we can zoom in a little bit. You can see that the character's been there. So let's see. And then what I would be able to do is come in here, open the content editor mode, and you can see that I've been able to move this as well. So wonderful, cool. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, there we go. All right, a few other little things. We talked a little bit about other documents. Just want to comment on the bottom three right here in terms of image document, office files, and PDFA. These are file formats that we can convert your documents into. So, what we'd be able to do is convert an image to a PDF, office file to a PDF. We can make PDFs PDFA compliant, and then after that point, you'd be able to render them in our solution and then be able to do things there. So you'd have the opportunity to work with different file types. I don't know if we have anyone from construction and engineering. There's a couple different use cases. Like we've done some niche components like measurements and being able to measure distance between points on PDFs. I've seen this used everywhere from like insurance claims for life insurance and then healthcare, but being able to measure the distance between certain things has been helpful for a lot of different industries. So we've built basically a way to create a scale, set the scale on things like that. And then you can measure distance on PDFs, which is pretty helpful. So just demonstrating a few different ways to do that. And then on top of that, we've done something called document comparison, which helps you there we go, overlay two documents and to overlay two vector-based documents. We're working on being able to do something that might be a little bit more text-based, but basically you pick the same 3 points on each PDF. as close as possible. It overlays them, and then you can see some of the differences. Like this wall's been moved here. You can see it pretty predominantly with how it doesn't line up. This wall down here has been moved as well. So overlaying documents to look for changes as well. So that's our comparison thing. So yeah, Mal, the OCR is definitely something that we have our own proprietary OCR engine that we've worked quite a bit on. The tool we're talking about, Web Standalone, it wouldn't be able to do this in the browser, but we have a lot of different tools, such as our web server-backed integration of our web solution. So same front end. So everything that we've talked about today, the same front end, the same thing in terms of the functionality. It comes with a self-hosted server component. We do it through a container. You deploy it via Docker on your server, but it enables more intensive operations such as OCRing. It renders the document quicker because we can lazy load the document. We can do other things like collaboration, but it's got more security there because the document's living on your server. So there's a lot of stuff that, we're not touching. Even when we look at other solutions like GD Picture, we're getting into like intelligent document processing, such as smart redaction, table processing, things like that, linearization. Like we have a lot of things in addition to the front end that you can do on the back end that are just a little bit more labor intensive that, a browser really can't keep up, or you'd be hanging out all day waiting for it to happen. So cool. So I think the last thing to cover is our redaction tool before I kind of show you one last thing that I like to make sure everyone knows about. And then we'll do a couple things on the website so you can see. So redaction is a tricky one in the industry because you really have to be careful to make sure you're removing the text and the underlying information from the PDF. What we see with some solutions that you have to be careful about is that often, just to start from scratch, we're going to search the Word application. Okay. So we look at the Word application and we see that it shows up 6 times here. So 1 out of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a lot of the time what happens is that we see that people put a shape annotation on top of it. They download the document, and then when they open the document, okay, it looks like it's gone, okay? You can tell quickly that the text is still there. So, but if I open this document back up in PSPDFKit, and I search for application, I'm still getting 6 hits. I haven't removed anything. I'm just keeping it from someone who's viewing it may not be able to see it, but someone who's motivated enough can still get to that information. I mean, we just sit in a search engine. So what we've built is a redaction engine that can permanently remove this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull limit and application. I'm going to select it. I've got a redaction option here in my toolbar. I also can go up here and select text redaction or area redaction. So kind of to what Amal has been talking about, if the document's been OCR'd, I can choose application and I get this nice overlay. So I can choose the color of the redaction. We'll make it red. I can put an overlay of why it was redacted. So we'll put webinar. And then after that's done, I can apply the redaction. So I apply the redaction. I come in here. I search application now. And I've only got 5 hits. I've removed that from the PDF. I can download it. I can open it up in another browser. The text is not selectable anymore. Like I've removed that from the tool. Other ways to redact would be area redaction. So let's say we maybe want to remove this person's photo from the application. I can apply the redaction. That's gone as well. Okay. Some fun stuff to consider. We have a tool called Smart Redaction that relies on another piece of technology where it can take the existing document as you're rendering it. You can set predefined things here, auto detect, and it's auto detecting all the things it thinks it's we thinks it's sensitive. I can preview it and then I can apply the redaction. So you can do manual redaction. You could search for words. You can set predefined things that you want to redact. A lot of flexibility around redaction as we kind of continue to dive into like this, some more, AI driven or smart tools to make workflows better. Yeah. So wonderful. So yeah, we cranked through a lot of these components. There's obviously little things on each one of them that we didn't have time to discuss. We're always happy to set up kind of a private demo or go into more information. One thing I did want to show is, PSPDFKit brought a tool called PSPDFKit Instant to market several years ago. We took a look at the industry and saw that there was really not a good tool for collaborating on PDFs, as in like a lot of the workflows are open up the PDF, mark on it, download it, send it to somebody else. Open up a PDF, mark it up, download it, send it to somebody else. So we built a tool that basically allows you to collaborate on PDFs similar to how you would collaborate on like a Google Doc. And what it does is it sends real-time updates to your server and updates the PDF to anybody that has access to it. So some of the things we showed today, so like, let me pull up the document editor. I'm going to delete this first page. I'm going to save a new version. Everyone with access to that just got an update that they need to reload it. Let's use the comment feature. So now I'm using comments that I showed earlier, but it's a lot more intuitive now because it's in real time. So now you're having almost like a Google Doc real time kind of session with PDFs. And this can be used in a collaborative tool, maybe board meeting, maybe construction markup. You could also use it in terms of like if you're moving from device to device. So, there's a lot of use cases where like Instant really can help eliminate a lot of downloading. It helps with conflict resolution. It also helps with like permissions and things like that. So if you're ever interested, let us know. So as we kind of finish up today, want to express some resources. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my contact information in the thread. If anybody wants to have a conversation or reach out to me directly, you can do that. I'm happy to have a conversation and help out with pricing. If you haven't talked to our sales team, I would suggest it. You can come to contact sales. Basically, we have a couple questions. Tell us about the app. We went through a lot of different things today. Understanding what you're building is going to be really helpful for us to get pricing over to you. You can fill out this form. We'll get back to you in a couple hours. You can also choose to schedule a call. So, if I wanted to talk to our team, I think I could get on the calendar later this afternoon and get a call scheduled with the team. So, interested in pricing, demos, things like that, let's do that. We also have the ability to get in touch with our technical support team. You just tell us that you're evaluating us. And we can help out there. We also have solutions engineers on staff ready to jump in if you want to go through the sales route as well. Other kind of resources that I would hope you can utilize. Our documentation is one of the leading reasons we hear too on why people go with us. So like check SourceForge again, G2. A lot of people praise our documentation. Nothing's gatekeep, everything's here. So you can come in, come to web. And then you have a lot of guides. So, if someone just asks questions about merging documents, maybe I go to the part in here. I can go to our AI thing and I can ask about merging documents. I can send, it's going to scour our guides and it's going to give you an idea and help you merge documents here, which is really helpful. You can also just go into our documentation, also us web, and go to merge as well. And, we have merge files via JavaScript. So welcome to our documentation. Also, everything I showed today in the web demo is a custom example. So if you want access to any of these examples, they're in our documentation as well. So you're able to do that. And then our website itself, there's a lot of things. So we have a solutions page. So if you're in a certain industry, you can come in, maybe you're working in construction, you can see a lot of the ways we can help you out with certain workflows, and it's super helpful. So to get pricing, you would just need to go to contact sales, fill out this, and our team will set up some time to either talk to you via email or we can give you a call and get an idea about your requirements and stuff like that, and send over a quote. So shouldn't be too painful. But wonderful. Again, my name is Richard. I'm the part of the sales team here at PSPDFKit. I've got a great team behind me to help out with any questions here in terms of demos, pricing information, things like that. We also have a ton of technical resources at our company, from developers to solutions engineers. So I welcome any emails or if you want to reach out. Appreciate the time that you spent today. Let people a few more seconds to get any last minute questions in for me and Guillermo. But we do these about every 2 weeks. So, if there's something you need help out with, please let us know. We can always do this. For technical advice or resources, you can go through our support desk, which is the link there. Or when you talk to the sales team, just include your questions there, and we can get you connected with the right resources there as well. So wonderful. Well, thanks everyone again. Like I said, this will be recorded and sent out. If you registered, make sure you check your spam. It sometimes ends up in there, but we will be having one of these every 2 weeks for the rest of the year. So if you've got anything you want to see, or maybe you want some more of a tailored demo, just let us know. Thanks again for your time, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Thursday.